I'm Tom Metzger, your host for Race and Reason. Race and Reason, a show dedicated to freedom of speech, total free speech. That small island of free speech in a sea of controlled and managed news. And now I go to my co-host, Tom Paget, who will introduce our guest for today. Tom, what do we have?
Tom, you're not going to believe who we have on the show today. We have an individual who you've been on his show 5 times and stomped him 5 times.
Ha!
And you've issued a challenge for him to show up on our show.
Nobody stomps me.
He's been delaying for a long time. Finally, he's worked up the nerve to come on. Take a look at him. For those of you who know him, no introduction is necessary. For those of you who don't, this gentleman calls himself Wally George.
Wally George on our show.
The host of the controversial TV show, The Hot Seat.
He finally accepted my challenge.
Now, first of all, let me explain to those...
You're on our hot seat.
Let me explain to your fans out there, Tom, both of your fans who might be watching. Let me explain, first of all, I am not here because I agree with this dimwit. I am here as a conservative to tell you that all people are not nitwits like these Nazi perverts. The real conservative is for Ronald Reagan and decency and morality.
Come on now.
And we are against racism. We believe that all men and women are created equal. All races, all colors, all creeds are equal.
As long as you can make lots of money.
And this guy and his sicko Ed McMahon, they belong in the slammer.
This is my show. Now look.
What kind of a show is it?
As long as you can make money, you conservatives, you love it. You don't want to go down El Salvador you want to drop bombs on Nicaragua and everything else.
That's right.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't want to go fight, does
he? Wouldn't do that. He wants you guys to
right.
You're too old too.
No, but the whole thing I can't understand is why in the world are you guys on the air to begin with?
Where do you find that audience if you got over there at KDOC?
What about the First Amendment, sicko?
Where do you
don't call me sicko, you pervert.
This is our
you get them out of a zoo?
My audience are made up of mainly young college students who are gung-ho Ronald Reagan Americans. There's a lot different than you are, Metzger.
You must have to pay these kids to take that.
Hey.
Why would any young kid be for Ronald Reagan, considering the draft coming up and all that kind of stuff?
There's not going to be a draft because they realize that Ronald Reagan stands for morality and decency and dignity, and Ronald Reagan wants to kick racists like you out of the country.
Of course he would, but he can't do that. He's going to have to deal with us. We're here. We're all over the place.
You had the audacity to come. He had the audacity to come on my show, on my great program, Hot Seat, and say that Campanis of the LA Dodgers was right.
Absolutely. Total free speech. And if Al Campanis feels that way as a free white American, he has every right to say it.
And you disagree with that, huh?
And you feel, and you guys all, and first of all, one of those jerks doing over there.
This is our security.
These are proud free white men.
You have your security, we have our security.
And I'm sure that these guys are as disgusted with you as we are.
Well, I hope so.
There's one point we forgot to make the other night when Al Campanis said about blacks aren't as buoyant as whites, right? Remember that?
I remember that. I remember. Don't point your finger at me.
Well, I'll tell you. You know what? I agree on that, too. But it depends on whether it's a black person swimming in Louisiana or in Chicago. How buoyant they are. Because I've heard sometimes they put things on them down there and they get a little heavier.
Oh, boy.
That's right.
Now, let me tell you, what really bothers me, and I hope you people who are watching across the country realize that, first of all, it is really a sickening, disgraceful thing.
Cover the point.
That racists like Metzger have airtime to spread this kind of sickness
reaching
across
over
America.
2.5 million homes throughout the United States. In their living room.
But we have there's no room in America for racists like you. This guy, in case you don't know it,
we're making room.
This guy was the former Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan.
We're making room.
Yeah, but the KKK and your white supremacist party, all you're doing is you are spreading hatred across America.
We're running you phony conservatives out of town. All you people want to do is bleed people and make money off them. Send them into phony wars.
We're not phony conservatives.
Sure,
we are standing up for what America stands for. One nation under God with liberty and justice for all. That means blacks.
What about the
and if you don't believe me, we'll just bomb you. If you don't believe that.
Do you think the Founding Fathers believed in race equality, Wally?
Of course I do.
Why does Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution state blacks were 3/5 of a person for voting purposes? That's what the founding fathers said.
You're interpreting things.
And there's no place,
the Constitution
no
said,
place in the
Wally.
Constitution where it ever said all men are created equal.
Show
Do you
us
know
the
that?
quote.
It's not in there.
One nation under
Bring it.
God with liberty and justice for all. That's our
Are you
Pledge of
bringing
Allegiance.
are you bringing the preachers into it now, like you always do?
No, that's our Pledge of Allegiance.
Like these big shots over here.
Don't you believe in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag?
I have a Pledge of Allegiance to my race, the Aryan race, no matter what country it's in and no matter where you're at.
If you don't pledge your allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and you don't believe in our Pledge of Allegiance, you should not be in the United States of America.
I will not, as long as they have things like Vietnam and intervention in Central America and arms race threatening to nuke all the Aryan people from the Soviet Union, and there's 150 million Aryan white people in Russia. And I don't have anything against them. I don't want to nuke them. But you conservatives, anybody you have a political disagreement with, you want to kill them. You want to nuke them.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. But certainly the communists, I mean, are you
communists? That's state capitalism over there. There's no communism.
What I'm talking about, you aren't even in favor of what Ronald Reagan wants to do with the Contras in Nicaragua.
Of course not, because that's all a money war.
It's none of our business.
It's not a money war. It certainly is our money. We want to save the central a takeover of Central and Latin America by the Soviet Union.
What right do we have to determine that, Wally? That's not our country.
We are the only bastion of freedom in the entire world.
Come on now.
If it wasn't for the United States of America, the Soviet Union would take over all.
I'll tell you what Reagan's worried about. The same thing the big bankers are worried about. They're worried about Nicaragua blasting another canal like the Panama Canal, which they could easily do, and that would put all the big bankers in Panama out of business. It scares them to death.
Now, let me tell you, what Ronald Reagan is concerned about, and what I'm concerned about, is if the Soviet Union takes over Nicaragua, if the Sandinista government is not overthrown by the freedom fighters, the Contras, then they move on to Honduras and Guatemala and then into Mexico, and the communists are going to be right on our border. We must stop a communist takeover of Central America.
Don't you support self-determination of peoples? What business is of ours to tell the Nicaraguan people what kind of government they should have?
I'll tell you.
None of our business.
It is. I'll tell you what.
George Washington told us, don't get entangled in these foreign entanglements. Stay at home. We can't even control our own borders. How can we control Nicaragua when we can't even control our own borders?
When George Washington was president, we didn't have the kind of threat. You can't go back 200 years.
Hold on, Tom. You want to know where the threat is in this country? It's trying to walk the streets of these cities at night in some of these ghettos and being attacked. The communists aren't hurting
What's wrong with this country?
We're not being attacked by Nicaraguan communists. We're being attacked in the streets by gangs of non-white thugs.
Oh, there you go, hitting the
That's
blacks
right.
again.
Well, are you going to say
there are just as many white thugs and criminals as there are blacks.
Well, where's your statistics on that, jerk? Check the FBI crime.
Where are you? Where are your statistics? The only people who are causing trouble in this country are blacks.
We're not saying that. We're saying that too many
blacks. When is the last time you took a nice
trouble?
evening stroll through the heart of L.A.?
Hey,
Do you walk through downtown LA
yes.
at night?
I have gone down
with your white suit.
As a conservative, as a Republican conservative, I have done appearances.
Yes.
And I want to tell you, Metzger.
You didn't walk there, though,
yes,
did you?
I certainly did.
You took your security people,
sir.
too, didn't you?
I walked down the streets of Watts. Wait a minute. I can prove it, and I'll do it. Hey,
my friends, the Muslims, should have taken care of it.
I have a proposition for you. I will gladly walk down the streets of Watts, and you by my side.